So to start today, I want to start with a little bit of vocabulary. I'm going to have you draw in a minute, but for now, you don't need to draw anything. Got that? Your vocabulary. You're going to need to know two terms here today. What do we call two lines that look like that? What? Say it again. Parallel. These are parallel lines. All right? What about these lines?
Symmetrical.
If these are right angles, what do we call that? Perpendicular. All right? So you're going to need those two words today. All right, so we're going to be talking about linear perspective today. We're going to specifically be talking about one-point perspective, meaning there's one vanishing point. What's a vanishing point? I'm happy to tell you. I'm going to start by drawing a horizon. You can draw your horizon. The horizon needs to be in the middle of the page. This is important. All right, so middle of the page, draw a horizon line, kind of dividing the page in half. You don't have to draw this part after you get to the horizon. A vanishing point is the point where things vanish. So let's think about a road going into the distance. What's the road going to look like as it goes towards the horizon? What's that?
It'll just get smaller as it goes up.
Yeah, it'll appear to get smaller and smaller. So you don't have to draw this road, but the road will look like this. This is the basic idea behind perspective, behind linear perspective, is that things get smaller as they move towards the vanishing point or the horizon. And the vanishing point is the point where they theoretically get so small that you can't see them anymore. All right? So we're going to use this idea to help us draw boxes. This is going to work best on like geometric shapes, especially cube shapes and rectangular prisms, which is like a box that's rectangle based. It's not all square sides. Okay? So we're going to use this idea of things getting smaller and eventually vanishing as they get closer to the horizon to try to draw more three-dimensional looking boxes. So we're going to start with just some boxes today. So I want you up here to draw a box. Just using horizontal and vertical lines. Try to make them parallel to the edges of your paper. Now, I want you to imagine that this is not a piece of paper, but rather a window that's looking at a landscape of boxes. But I want you to imagine that we've actually got a sheet of glass right here that we're drawing on. Okay? So this paper is a sheet of glass. We're going to use one-point perspective when the surfaces of the boxes we're drawing are parallel to that imaginary sheet of glass. So the boxes have to be facing us directly. So the side that's parallel is going to have edges that are parallel to the edges of the paper. All right? So the front and the back are going to have edges that are parallel to the piece of paper. The rest of the edges, and we'll make this first box transparent except for the edges. The rest of the edges are going to move towards the vanishing point. So you're going to connect the corner and the vanishing point right here with your ruler edge. I'm going to lay it so it's touching both the corner and the vanishing point right there. Okay. To start, I'll actually extend them all the way there so you can see. But get ready to erase because we're not going to need all of this. Okay? we had a transparent box that we could see through that went all the way into the distance, all the way to the horizon where it eventually vanished, this is what it would look like. But most things in real life don't go all the way to the horizon until they eventually vanish, with the exception of maybe roads, which tend to do that. But buildings, things of that nature don't usually do that, so we're going to have to put backs on these most of the time. So the way we put a back on, remember that the back side is again going to be parallel, all right, to this imaginary sheet of glass that separates us from this landscape. So we're going to draw them using vertical and horizontal lines. So the back will look like that. Alright? So I don't need these lines, so I can erase them. Later on, after I get more practice, I don't have to draw them at all. Does that make sense? So what we get here is the effect of this edge, which is closer to us, being bigger than, or appearing bigger than this back edge here. Alright? So most of the time we're not drawing transparent boxes, so let's draw an opaque box. Transparent means I can see through it. Opaque means I cannot. So we're going to start down here with the surface that's facing us. When we do perspective, it's always a good idea to start with the thing that is closest to us. So when we do 1 point perspective, that thing's going to be this surface. When we do 2 point perspective, it's going to be the edge of the box. And when we do 3 point perspective, it's going to be a corner. So we want to start by drawing this whole surface here, because it's closest. Now, we don't have to draw in all of these lines because we're not going to be able to see the things that are obscured by the front and sides of the box. So we need to figure out which ones we do need to draw in. The thing to remember is the sides that you're going to be able to see are going to be the ones that are between this front surface and the vanishing point back here. So in this case, we're going to be able to see the top of the box. We're also going to be able to see the right-hand side. So we'll connect this bottom right corner. So all of the corners that have the word bottom, or sorry, that have the words top or right in them are going to be the ones we connect. So we'll do bottom right corner, top right corner, and top left corner. I'm not going to draw my lines all the way to the horizon. I only need to draw them as far as I need those edges to go. But you'll notice that I'm still connecting the corner that I'm drawing from to the vanishing point in all of these instances with the edge of my ruler. And now I'll put the back of the box on by drawing a horizontal line and a vertical line. I'll erase my extra line. Okay? Horizontal line and vertical line. Because again, the back of the box is going to be parallel to this imaginary picture plane that I'm looking through. Let's draw a box on the horizon. If I've got a box that's on the horizon, remember that the horizon is my eye level. So I'm not going to be able to see the top or the bottom of the box. I'm only going to be able to see the right-hand side here. So I'll connect all of the corners that have the word right in them. So the bottom right and the top right. And then I can add the back on wherever I want it to be. The back's going to be a vertical line. The back will always be vertical and horizontal lines for 1 point perspective. I'm going to erase extra lines, erase the horizon that's now being obscured. I've got another box. Okay? Do one more. this one's going to be directly below the vanishing point. And because it's directly below the vanishing point, we're not going to be able to see the left or right sides. We'll only be able to see the top. Again, these edges are going to go towards the vanishing point. And this back edge is going to be a horizontal line. Okay? Does that make sense? Let's shade these a little bit. I'm going to put my light source up here. We'll talk about shading these. So we'll say that the top is being most directly hit by the light. The right side is being slightly hit by the light. And the bottom will be dark. All right. So we'll make this surface that's facing us dark, but not super dark. When you shade these, the important thing is that they are consistent. So all of the sides that are facing us should be shaded to the same tone. Okay? Sides that are up, I'm going to leave completely light. I'm going to shade the right sides very slightly. And then the bottom here I'm going to make real dark. But they'll all be consistent because they don't have a different light source for each block. We're just going to use a single light source. Does that make sense? Okay, so you need to draw 20 of these. You can add to what you have here. You have 4 right now. If you're feeling pretty confident and secure with these, maybe try making some funky blocks. Make like some L shapes. See how that works out for you. Or whatever. But if you're feeling really solid and secure and confident and you get sick of doing just boxes, you can start to vary the shapes a little bit. But make them all share the same vanishing point and make sure you're using 1 point perspective for all of them. Any questions?